Hello and welcome back to the DBO show. In today's episode, I want to talk about why you should stop calling yourself principal. Now, I do not say this to offend anyone out there who does still call themselves principal, but I just want to offer you a different perspective. For me, when you call yourself the principal of your school, you keep yourself stuck. You keep yourself small and you don't allow yourself to evolve into that new identity as a business owner. If you don't see yourself as a business owner that takes it seriously, that isn't running a charity, that isn't just doing this for the good of their health, or isn't just doing this to be underpaid, okay? If you don't see yourself as that person, it's going to be very difficult for your parents at the school to see you as that person. So you have got to let go of the old identity that is calling yourself a principal. It is such an old school way to run a dance school or a theatre school or whatever type of school you run. And yes, it's maybe a way that we've been conditioned to think. When I was growing up at dance school, that is what my teacher was called. And then we just very quickly adapt and we take on those habits and the things that we've always done. But I really want you to question how you introduce yourself. When you meet a new person, do you say, I'm the principal of a dance school? Like, what do you say? Because what does that mean? What does it actually mean? For me, principal keeps you stuck in really old school thinking. It's like you're not running a primary school or a high school here. You're running a dance school. You're running a dance business. Therefore, you're a business owner, you're a founder, you're a director, you're a leader. You're so much more than a principal. And honestly, I think when you make that switch from identifying almost as a principal to identifying and owning the role as a business owner, your parents start to take you seriously. They feel like they get less say in how you price your events, your classes, all of these things. We've all been there where you make a change in the business and people that have been there since day one typically aren't happy with it. And when you're running your business, when you're running your school and you're calling yourself a principal, and it's one of those feelings that everyone in the team, everyone in the school, parents included, that they get to have a say in how you run it. And if you're running a business, that's just not how it works. And I see so many schools keeping themselves small purely by keeping themselves in that little box of being a principal. And for me, your language shapes your decisions, your boundaries, and your standards. And your identity is going to drive your results. So if you see yourself as a principal, you get to sort of hide behind that. Whereas if you step forward into the role as owner or leader, it's a little bit more uncomfortable. You might feel a little bit, a bit of imposter syndrome coming through. It might feel more scary than being principal, but honestly, your actions and your behaviors will start to adapt to that of a business owner. You will start to think like a business owner. You will start to, make moves. You will start to grow your business. You will start to take everything more seriously. And, for me, I think it's about leveling up. It's about growing into a new identity. Because for me, when I started my school, I was very much a dance teacher. And I don't know about you, but my experience of being a dance teacher, or even at school saying that I wanted to be a dance teacher, it was almost like people would just belittle you. And I don't know if that's been everyone's experience, but certainly for me at high school, when I had, and you maybe have had this experience yourself, I had a meeting, a one-to-one, whatever you call it, with a careers coach at school. And when I said, I want to go to college, I want to get my degree in dance, she was like, what? Like, is that a real job? You've got brains. Why don't you go do something with your brains, something that's a little bit more, like proper? And I'll never forget that conversation. And I know that so many of you have had similar. And I feel like when we started out as dance teachers, when we had the ambition to start a school, we did see ourselves as dance teachers, myself included. But I think society, yes, it's changing. Yes, it's evolving. Yes, we are being taken more seriously. I think even at the time when I would meet people and they would say, what is it you do? And I would almost be very apologetic about saying I was a dance teacher. And it's pretty sad, really, because we do make such a difference in people's lives and we do get to have a positive impact. But there's something about it where, you know, you maybe went to school with people that went off to be lawyers or doctors and nurses, and almost felt like a dance teacher was at the bottom of that pecking order. And I don't believe that it is, but I think that is the perception. And I think now in our industry, we are on such a, you know, we're on the cusp of people actually waking up and saying, no, this is a business. Like, this does deserve to be a really valued service, because we're not just offering dance classes. Let's be honest. We are offering community, belonging, friendships, that feeling of safety, that sort of home from home. We're getting kids off the street. We're getting them off screens. We're solving a lot of problems for families. And I think we cannot undervalue that. And for me, it's not the only thing. Of course, it's just one part of a really big jigsaw puzzle here. But I think one of the first steps that we can do and that we can take seriously and we can be responsible for is seeing ourselves as owners, seeing ourselves as a business owner, seeing ourselves as a founder, and owning that, like saying it without, you know, shriveling up inside and being like, oh, who do I think I am? And, you know, these little mind monkeys that we all get. And you're thinking, oh, how can I say I'm a business owner? I don't feel like a real business. And all of this stuff comes up. But like anything, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, the more comfortable you will feel, the more you will start stepping into that identity. And I know that because I've seen it happen time and time again with the business owners that we work with. So if you do just one thing this week, stop calling yourself principal, start calling yourself a business owner or whatever other identity you want to step into, and just watch how it changes your thinking, how it changes your behaviors, and also how it changes the perception of other people. Because when you start to really step into that role as a leader, as someone who takes themselves and their business seriously, I'm not saying it doesn't have to be fun, but I'm just saying that you really, you know, it's your duty to run this thing properly, because if you don't, nobody benefits. Like, if your business doesn't make money, you have to close the doors. You don't benefit, your team don't benefit, and your customers certainly don't benefit. So try it out. Change your bio. Start introducing yourself as a dance business owner and just watch how other people perceive you. Some people will be like, oh, what's a dance business owner? Or you're a dance teacher? Or, you know, we've all had that thing in the past as well, where people will, and people still say it to me, like, oh, how's your wee dance school going? And I'm like, oh, don't even want to explain myself, don't even want to justify. So I just say, yeah, it's great, it's going good. How's your wee job going? And I think people don't, you know, they don't mean to be patronizing with that, but it can come across like that. And I really want to be part of changing the perceptions of this industry and realizing that, yes, we're in business. Yes, we want to be profitable. Yes, we want to make money. And no, it doesn't make us bad people. In fact, it just makes us care even more deeply about the people who do come through our doors, because we get to reinvest back into resources, back into service, just everything that you offer. And I think that is the shift that we need in this industry. We have got to see that we deserve to make money and that we are business owners. We're not principals. It's not the 90s. Let's get with it. It's 2026. And if you're still holding on to that old identity, maybe it's time to let it go. Maybe it's time to realize that you're a dance business owner, that you're valuable, and that you're worthy of calling yourself a business owner and a leader. I really hope that episode landed with some of you. I really hope it didn't offend, because it comes from a place of love. And I am here to make a difference in the industry. I'm not here to try and please everyone. And I know that not everyone is going to agree with what we're about. But as long as we know that we're doing it for the greater good, then I can sleep well at night. So thanks so much for listening to this episode. I will see you back next week. Lots of love.